All right, listeners, buckle up. We're diving headfirst into Singapore's Chinatown today. And hey, I see those files you sent over, location of places to visit, something like that, right?
You got it.
Great starting point, really. But we're going to go deeper, way deeper. Think insider tips, those hidden gems. By the end of this, you'll be navigating Chinatown like a pro, not just another tourist snapping pics.
Exactly. I mean, you've got your temples, markets, food stalls, the classics. But Chinatown's got so much more beneath the surface. It's alive, it's layered, centuries of history, a mix of cultures, modern twists, all packed into these vibrant streets.
Okay, now you've got me hooked. So, the Buddha Tooth Relic Temple. That's right at the top of our list. Now, I've got to ask, I've seen a few relic temples in my travels, but what makes this one stand out? What makes it so special?
Well, for starters, the relic itself. It's believed to be a tooth from the actual Buddha, 7th century AD, talk about history, and the temple housing it, it's Tang Dynasty style, absolutely stunning architecture. But here's the kicker. There's a museum inside.
Whoa, hold on. A museum inside the temple.
Yep, packed with Buddhist art and artifacts. Some pieces are so rare they could be in national museums, easily.
Wow, didn't you expect that?
And don't forget the rooftop garden. Now, imagine this. You start your day up there, surrounded by greenery, peace, and quiet before the Chinatown craziness kicks in.
Okay, that's a pro tip right there. Love it. All right, next up on the list is the Sri Mariamman Temple. Wait a second. A Hindu temple in Chinatown. This is where those layers you talked about start to, show themselves, huh?
Absolutely. Chinatown's story is all about change, right? Waves of immigrants, each bringing their own cultures, their own beliefs. The Sri Mariamman Temple, oldest Hindu temple in Singapore, it's a testament to that blend, to how diverse Chinatown really is.
So it wasn't always Chinatown as we see it today, was it?
Nope, not at all. Evolved over time, for sure. Okay, so when you visit Sri Mariamman, keep an eye out for the Gopuram. That's the towering entrance you see in pictures. It's basically a masterpiece of Hindi mythology, covered every inch of it with carvings, deities, creatures, scenes from stories, and painted in these super vibrant colors.
You're making me want to book a flight right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm also seeing a couple more temples, Thian Hot King and the Chinatown Heritage Center. Quick rundown on those.
Sure. So Thian Hot King, it's a Hokkien temple, one of the main Chinese dialect groups, dedicated to Mazu, the goddess of the sea. Super important for those early communities who relied on the sea. So it gives you a real glimpse into their lives.
Another layer, right?
Yeah.
Not just Chinese history, but specifically Hokkien Chinese.
Precisely. And then you have the Chinatown Heritage Center. You want to dive deeper into those early immigrant stories. This is your place. They've recreated shop houses, living spaces from that time, artifacts, exhibits, the whole 9 yards, like stepping back in time, really.
All right, so we've covered a lot of history, the cultural side of Chinatown. I'm curious, what about the modern side? What makes it more than just, a living museum?
Ah, good question. Well, that's where places like Ann Shang Hill and Club Street come in. Totally different vibe. Picture this. You spent the day exploring temples, all that history. Now you're ready for something a little more, I don't know, hip. So you wander up this street, narrow and charming, lined with those restored shop houses, and bam! Boutiques, art galleries, rooftop bars with insane views. It's a scene, for sure.
Okay, so it's that blend, right? Like the past and present kind of woven together.
You got it. And speaking of layers, let's talk Chinatown street art.
Oh, yeah, that was on my mind. Is it more than just dragons and lanterns, the typical stuff?
Way more. Sure, you'll see some traditional motifs, but you'll also find these murals. They reflect a different side of Chinatown. Street artists adding their own spin, showing how the community's evolving. Some of it's playful, some of it makes you think, but it's all part of the visual experience.
This is sounding less and less like a one-day trip. Yep. All right, what about this People's Park complex? Another shopping mall.
Well, it is a mall, but with a twist. Architecturally, it's a great example of brutalism, popular in the 70s. And, here's the best part, the rooftop. Amazing views of the city skyline. And less crowded than the typical tourist spots.
You had me at rooftop views. I'm sold. And lastly, we've got the Singapore City Gallery. Main draw there.
If you're into urban planning, you'll love it. Think scale models, interactive stuff, a whole breakdown of how Singapore became the modern city it is. Great way to understand the city's journey, the whole urban planning side of things.
I could see how that'd be interesting, especially compared to all the history we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so with all this exploring, I'm getting hungry. Which brings us to FOD. Because let's be real, what's a Chinatown adventure without the food? I mean, we're talking hawker centers, Michelin-starred everything, those curries that just hit you with the aroma.
Yep.
Endless possibilities.
You're preaching to the choir here. Chinatown is a foodie's dream come true. You mentioned those hawker centers. You've got Chinatown Complex, the biggest one in all of Singapore, by the way. And then there's Maxwell Food Center, their Hainanese chicken rice. Legendary. But let's dig a little deeper, shall we? Beyond the usual
Oh,
suspects.
I'm all for that. Lead the way to those hidden culinary gems.
Okay, close your eyes for a sec. Imagine you're walking down Chinatown Food Street. It's pedestrian only, so no cars, just you and a million amazing food stalls, restaurants too. And the smells, oh man, noodles sizzling, spices in the air, something sweet wafting over. You can grab a quick bite, sit down for a proper meal, or just wander and take it all in.
Okay, stop. You're making me hungry. It's like stepping into, I don't know, a food time machine or something.
That's the vibe. And then, for that real Chinatown experience, you can't skip Smith Street Night Market. Sun goes down, the street transforms. Lights, crowds, energy, and of course, more incredible food. Satay skewers, the smoke from those grills, fresh seafood. It's a sensory overload in the best way possible.
All right, my stomach is officially rumbling. But with all these options, help me out here. What are some must-try dishes? What do I absolutely need to eat?
Okay, so back to those hawker centers. Chinatown Complex, you absolutely have to try the soy sauce chicken rice at Hawker Chan. It's Michelin starred for a reason. The chicken, so tender, flavor packed into the rice, that sauce, it's like ridiculously good and cheap too.
Okay, soy sauce chicken rice. Got it. But what about something, I don't know, more adventurous, something I can brag about later, like, you won't believe what I ate?
All right, how adventurous are we talking here? Because if you're really up for a challenge, Chinatown Food Street, look for frog porridge.
Wait, hold up. Frog porridge.
Yeah, it might sound a little odd at first, but trust me, it's a local thing. The frog legs are super tender, and the porridge itself has ginger, spring onions, all those good flavors. It's comfort food, but with a twist.
Frog porridge. You know what? I'm kind of intrigued. Definitely not something I'd normally order, but hey, got to try new things, right? Especially when it's that connected to the culture. What about something sweet for dessert?
All right, if you got a sweet tooth, you gotta try Tang Yuan. They're these chewy rice balls filled with sweet sesame paste, and they're served in this warm ginger syrup, perfect for after a big meal, and they're especially popular during festivals.
That sounds amazing, actually, like a warm hug, but edible. Okay, so we've got temples, history, the modern stuff, and now all this food. It's like Chinatown really does have it all.
It does, but there's one more thing that's key to experiencing Chinatown: the people.
Oh, that's a good point.
hmm
Tell me more. I'm always interested in like the human side of travel.
Chinatown's not just buildings and food, right? It's the stories of the people who live there. Shopkeepers, the hawkers, families who've been there for generations. Talk to them. Learn about their lives, their traditions. Ask about their favorite dishes, hidden spots they know, their memories of Chinatown from way back. That's where the real magic is.
That's so true. It's easy to get caught up in the sights, the rush of it all, but it's those connections with people that really make a place come alive. It's like, yeah, ditch the checklist, go with the flow, see where it takes you.
Exactly. And don't forget, Chinatown's all about the senses, right? So use them all. Don't just look around, listen. Hear those chopsticks clicking, the sizzle from the wooks. Breathe in the spices, the smells from those bakeries. Touch the silks, the fabrics, get a feel for it. Let it all wash over you. It's an experience, not just a sightseeing thing.
You're making me feel like I need to book a flight ASAP. Okay, so we've got get lost, use all our senses. Any more wisdom for our Chinatown adventurer out there?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Make a point of actually talking to the locals. Chat with the lady selling those souvenirs or ask that hawker stall owner about their specialty, maybe even their grandma's secret recipe, who knows. And even just saying hello or thanks in Mandarin, Hokkien, it goes a long way.
It really does. I remember I once tried to say hello in Thai at this market, totally butchered it.
Yeah.
But the woman, she just started laughing. And we ended up having the whole conversation, just gestures and smiles. One of the best memories from that trip.
See, that's what it's all about. Those little moments, they stick with you. And don't underestimate just watching, observing. See how they do that tea ceremony in a traditional tea house, or watch a calligrapher write those amazing characters, or just see how life happens there, the everyday stuff. It's fascinating.
I think you've given our listeners a fantastic guide to experiencing Chinatown. It's more than just hitting those big spots. It's about like soaking it all in, the culture, the history, the energy.
Well said. And remember, everyone's going to have their own unique experience, right? So follow your curiosity, let it guide you, and I promise you'll have an amazing time. Who knows? Maybe you'll even discover something new, something we didn't even talk about.
That's the best part of travel, right? The surprises, the unexpected stuff. Well, we hope you've enjoyed this deep dive into Singapore's Chinatown and that you're feeling inspired to go explore it for yourself.